Hi, this is BrassCheck, and I don't know how many people have been following us for the 20 years that we've been operating, but this is our 20th year. We started in 1997 when the Internet was new. We were one of the very first blogs on the Internet. In other words, we posted daily bulletins. Now everybody does that, but we were pioneers of that. We were text only because there was no video. We did put up pictures. It was technically challenging, but we did that. Our domain name was BrassCheck.com, not BrassCheckTV.com originally. So if you go there right now to BrassCheckTV.com, you'll see the listing of all the stuff that we've done. We were possibly the very first news outlet to say clearly and distinctly that there was no way the official 9/11 story was possible. We did that on 9/11, on September 11, 2001, and we gave the logical reason that nobody has improved on yet. What took place was logistically impossible. And you didn't need to be a rocket scientist to know that. The head of Russia's air defense also said that the same day, and believe me, he would know. We also covered stories on what we called chemically induced compliance, the drugging of kids and garbage science in America. We did that 20 years ago, and now I think 1 out of 4 kids in America is on some kind of psychoactive chemically induced compliance drug. We've been perennially skeptical about the anti-gun crusade. We also reported on the way police deliberately disrupt peaceful demonstrations. We went into great depth on what we call the NATO-created catastrophe in Yugoslavia, and this was during Bill Clinton's reign, and we were very concerned that this unleashing of the U.S. military in Yugoslavia was going to lead to much worse and much more damaging things, and that if we didn't all get behind it, stopping it, that there was going to be more of it. And as much as we predicted a bad outcome, we could never have predicted how bad it really became. And the illegal war in Yugoslavia, which everybody was cheering for, liberals, progressives, and conservatives, we said was going to lead to a disaster, and that's what we got with George Bush. We talked about Jonestown, which was the most reported story of its day when it happened originally, and of the year. It was the #1 story, and now you barely hear anything about it. And we went into depth into how the politicians in San Francisco were directly involved in that tragedy, and we name names and we show exactly how it all fit together. We also talked about election fraud. That was one of our biggest studies in 1997, and we laid out all the mechanics of election fraud. Everything that happened in 2000 and 2004, we predicted. We talked about illegal redistricting, where suddenly you know your opponent is going to get a lot of support in an area, so you close all the voting precincts there and make people travel across town or make them wait online for 8 to 10 hours. That was done by the Bush contingent in 2000 and 2004. We also talked about outright fraud, the stuffing of ballot boxes, illegal ballots, illegal polling places. We even talked about hanging Chad 3 years before it was a headline. We also got into great detail of how police departments are used politically to provide violence on demand in opposition to social movements, and on and on and on. So some of these pages we also had a long story about the fraud that is China, and the fact that remember this is 20 years ago, 1997. We reported how if not all, practically every U.S. politician was on the take from China to try to paint China as some kind of a great land of the future. And certainly a lot of business has transpired since then, but basically China is a slave labor country. and there's nothing particularly wonderful about it. So we did a lot of reporting, and some of these pages, some of these sites that we designed and put together and wrote: police violence against political causes, the NATO created catastrophe in Yugoslavia, our critique of the 9/11 reporting went into the dozens, sometimes scores, sometimes hundreds of pages. So we've been around, and we've done a lot of things. We decided that we could possibly do better and be more sustainable by innovating in the area of video archiving. In other words, things would run on TV, and then they would disappear. You'd never see them again. And so we spent a lot of time, money, and effort recording things off television when big news stories broke, and created a pretty big archive of that stuff, which is how we were able to make our very popular film, The 9/11 Solution, which was viewed, as far as we know so far, over 10 million times. A lot of people have downloaded and uploaded it to various sources, and we've seen several places get over 1 million views. One place got over 5 million views for that film, and that film pretty much shows you that the whole media reporting of 9/11 was fixed. We were the first to point out that they had actors reporting on their so-called eyewitness accounts on live television. We reported that not last year, not 5 years ago, but over 10 years ago. So we've been pioneers, and now what we do is we search the internet after there's a story. We find the best realistic analysis with real facts that cuts through the baloney, and we get that email out to you. So it takes a bit of work, and it takes a lot of money. We have to pay for our server every month. We have to pay for the email software every month. Because of the way the internet's been massively complicated in recent years, we now have to have a technical person on retainer all the time. We occasionally are the victim of hack attacks, which really are very disruptive and expensive to combat and repair after. And our big problem now is, as some of you know from paying attention to various reports, Google and YouTube have absolutely decimated the revenue that goes to publishers, small publishers like BrassCheck TV. We used to be able to pay all our bills for the service and even have some money left over. Amazing. Now we are struggling just to pay the technical bills to keep it going. My guess is this has happened not just to us, but literally tens of thousands of sites all across YouTube and the internet. And the best I can see is it's been decided that independent media that is not directly tied to large advertisers will not be allowed to survive financially. So we can survive. We already have some viewer and reader supporters. We've never pushed that very hard, but we need to push it hard now. We welcome all support we can get. We're particularly looking for people that can make a monthly contribution. This is a service. It's like the newspaper. It's like subscribing to a magazine, except you won't find a newspaper that is as fast as we are to get to the truth of things. And you certainly won't find a magazine. So a $10 a month donation works out to about 33 cents a day, and which you can't even buy a newspaper with. I'm not sure what you can buy for 33 cents a day, but you could support BrassCheck TV, and we hope to get enough of our viewers and readers to actually pay for the expense of running this so that we can continue forever. It's not certain that we'll be able to continue forever. There's a limit to how much I can endure. We've been doing this 20 years. It has never been easy. We have been on the receiving end of all kinds of dirty tricks, and got to see that there's support among the readers and viewers. So to everybody that is a supporter, big thanks. Thank you for stepping up long ago and being a helper and helping bring this to thousands of people all over the world. Our traffic hasn't gone down at all. Our subscriber base, except for a sabotage event that occurred a few years ago when 20,000 subscribers were taken out of our database and erased against our will, obviously, and against the will of the subscribers. Other than that, we've never had a decline in our subscribership. We have pretty much the same amount of subscribers, growing a little bit all the time. We have the same amount of page views, but our revenue has been cut over 80%. You know, not 18%. You know, 80%. So we've gone from being able to easily pay the technical costs and even have a little bit of money left over to we can barely keep our heads above water. And again, this is all by design. It's not just happening to us. It's happening to independent news all over the internet. They just kicked off this new, search and destroy program in March of 2017. Well, what can I say? Without independent news like this, you won't have a clue what's really going on. I wouldn't have a clue what's really going on. If I didn't take the 2 and 3 hours and sometimes more per day it takes to figure out, okay, what's the real truth behind this story? Where's this leading? What's the propaganda here? What are the real facts? If I didn't do that, I wouldn't know what's going on. It is a tidal wave of misinformation, propaganda, lying, bullshit, and other things, none of which help you, and all of which ultimately make it impossible to make intelligent, rational decisions. So that's what BrassCheck's always been about, to let you know what's really going on so that you can make the best possible decisions for yourself and your loved ones. And without information, without accurate information, without reliable information, you're flying blind. So I hope you think that our 33 cents a day is worth it. We can really use your help. Cannot guarantee our long-term survival without it. And to those that are helping us, thank you so much. And to those that are about to help us, thank you very much. Thanks for joining this effort.